In May 2019, Parasol unit presented a double group exhibition in Venice and London titled The Spark Is You. The Venice edition was a collateral event to the 58th Biennale and focused on the work of 9 Iranian artists from different generations presented through the lens of poetry. Some of the artists live in Iran and others live in various parts of the world. The concept was to highlight the historical importance of poetry in Iran and how significantly it influences people there. Hosted in the Conservatorio de Musica Benedetto Marcello, close to Accademia Bridge, it seemed a fitting place for the show. Throughout the day, musical instruments are played and voices are rehearsed. This dialogue between visual art and music could only enhance the message of this exhibition, which is openness and tolerance. Dialogue is seen everywhere here, between messages in the works, between the culture or geographical region of the artists, or simply in the thoughts of these artists. In the Great Hall are works by Siah Armajani and Nazgol Ansarinia, 2 artists from different generations and living many miles apart from each other. Both are concerned with collective experience in public spaces. Siah Armajani's works show 2 views on 2 19th century American philosophers and writers, Edgar Allan Poe and Ralph Waldo Emerson. In the large open structure of Edgar Allan Poe's study, the melancholic psyche of the American writer, known for his grim, macabre tales, comes through. In contrast to that, within the frame of Armajani's hall mirror with table are the optimistic words of Emerson, which read, "If history were truly told, if life were nobly spent, it would be no longer easy or possible to distinguish the fine arts from the useful arts." This is a utopian question Armajani continually explores in his work, as he considers art must serve a purpose, even if that purpose be only beauty itself.
謙遜は傲慢を殺すという意味で、これはアゴスティーノ会、修道会のアゴスティーノ会のモットーです。それをただ HASOS こう謎めいた感じで書き込んでいるという。
This issue of truth in history is further explored in Mitra Farahani's film. The main focus here is Caravaggio's painting, David with the Head of Goliath, filmed at the Villa Borghese in Rome. Various museum guides from different cultures explain in their own language the many layers this painting inhabits. Nazgol Ansarinia's work, Membrane, made from paper, paste and glue, is a wall that once existed in Tehran and was destroyed. It bears traces of people who lived inside it. Hanging here in front of the window, daylight shines through and practically dissolves the work. In the afternoon, it takes another form. It becomes an object, opaque, truly physical. Mitra Farahani's work features a quote by the writer Elias Kennedy, handwritten by the film director Jean-Luc Godard, and here painted by the hand of Mitra Farahani. The quote itself laments that we are never sad enough to make this world a better place. It is a real conversation among these 3 thinkers across time and place, reimagined through the unexpected frame of a 17th century Venetian palace. In another room is the work Becoming by Morteza Ahmadvand. Here, the artist pleads for tolerance and unity amongst different religions. Representing the 3 Abrahamic religions on the 3 different screens, the Star of David, the Christian cross, and the Islamic Kaaba are animated, slowly turning into spheres, emulating the sculpture in the center, which stands as a symbol of totality, unity, and wholeness. This is the last work made by Farideh Lashai before she passed away in 2013. Lashai sets her work as a poetic dialogue between the present day and different time periods, countries, and cultures. For this work, she painstakingly reproduced Goya's famous suite of 82 etchings, The Disasters of War, using the same printmaking techniques as the Spanish artist. Except here in these 80 prints, Lashai has erased all the figures, leaving only desolate landscapes. As a projected spotlight moves slowly from one image to another, violent scenes reappear, fleetingly animated across the prints, while Chopin's music plays tenderly in the background, bringing in a somber and poignant reality. Koushna Navabi's work, Biskweel-e means mother biscuit. Every child in Iran is familiar with this biscuit. Yet here in the hands of Navabi, the box has been turned into a giant coffin, covered in an exquisite embroidered image of the Biscuit brand. The biscuits replicate tombstones made from concrete. With a dramatic change in scale, the artist creates something uncanny and disturbing. To conclude the indoor spaces is a room devoted to the work of Waisi Kami. 2 paintings show women face to face, one with her eyes open, ready, the other with closed eyes in total meditation. Kami's message is, we are all the same, regardless of our culture and race. The 3rd painting is of the interior of Chartres Cathedral, connecting us with France, a country where Kami studied and lived for many years. Outside in the courtyard are 2 works. Sahand Hesamiyan sculptures are based not only on traditional Iranian architecture, but also on the notion of the lotus flower, which is within the philosophy of Zoroastrianism, in which Iranian culture is embedded. It is called Faru, a female name which in Persian means brightness or enlightenment. The 2 pieces of this sculpture come into conversation. There is a dialogue between them, which again highlights the theme of the exhibition. Further into the courtyard is the work of Navid Nuur. These 3 large paintings, the tuners, are inspired by the scribbles people often make when trying out new pens in a stationery store. The carefully balanced composition of colour and line resemble a sort of musical composition. Referencing the title of the work, the tuning of a musical instrument is almost similar in effect to that of test mark making. And here at the Music Conservatory, in the heart of Venice, music and visual arts interweave harmoniously. For the London exhibition, the focus was on the work of early and mid-career artists who either live in Iran or elsewhere in an adopted country. A sense of duality exists within their works, concepts stemming from private and collective experiences, and a common heritage of poetry is evident through the use of metaphor and parable. The handmade plaster and glue bricks in Nazgol Ansarinia's installation are based on the 3D printed molds which replicate the fragments of a demolished building. In Tehran, where the artist lives and works, real estate anarchists have in recent decades extensively demolished and rebuilt the townscape. Ansarinia records this ruthless destruction and the new developments which are rampant throughout the city. With such a fast pace of demolition, one no longer remembers what the landscape was like before, and often leaves residents confused and depleted of their collective memories. London-based artist Koushna Navabi often explores aspects of identity and alienation in her works. Made from a section of tree trunk, the work resembles a dismembered female body. The shortened limbs and lower body are left bare and rough, but the head and upper torso are covered in a hand-woven Persian kalim, which is a richly decorative form of traditional textile, giving it an element of the domestic and familiar. This poignant work embodies a sense of severance, the pain of exile and belonging. Delicate lines are scratched into the surface of Ghazaleh Hedayat's photographs, showing the back of the artist's own head and shoulders, eventually obliterating the image completely. The artist's exploration between the senses of sight and touch focuses on those experiences that remain unspoken and unheard. Silence is a common ground among all her works. In Morteza Ahmadvand's commission work, Cradle of Religions, 3 identical metal spheres, suspended side by side, are each topped with a different shape, symbolic of the main Abrahamic religions: a Christian cross, a Jewish Star of David, and a cube representing the Islamic Kaaba. It takes the form of a giant Newton's cradle. Similar to Koushna Navabi's installation in Venice, Ahmadvand plays with the immensity of scale to create a sense of the uncanny. The clashes between these 3 spheres intimates the turmoil of today's political and cultural unrest. Hadi Tabatabai plays cleverly with human perception within the simple grid format. Each panel consists of nearly 800 strands of thread stretched vertically. A subtle sense of movement is created as positive and negative space is blurred, which creates an optical illusion as one moves around the work. Sahand Hesamiyan's exposed structure relates to the geometry of traditional Persian architecture. The title translates as Aditon, a small enclosed space, deep within a temple, usually intended to host solitary prayer. For Hesamiyan, it is a glamorous and glorious interior space within the open simplicity of its outer shell. In Ghazaleh Hedayat's other series, the canvas frame is like a cross between a tapestry loom and an embroidery hoop. Dark human hair is woven into the grid lines, binding together layers of representation and identity. As the title suggests, Navid Nuur's Broken Blue Square is a series of glass tubes that once formed as a square and has now been transformed into a rectangle by cutting off the ends. The crushed glass from this process is inside each tube, along with argon gas, which glows an eerie blue. the substance is not light per se, nor is it a static image, but actually a sculptural form in active chemical motion, a reminder that appearances can be deceiving. Navid Nuur's ongoing painting series, The Tuners, is presented here on a smaller scale to the large triptych presented in Venice. With the squiggly strokes made by people testing pens in stationery stores, Nuur extracts something primal about these marks, a commonality that surely unites us, that exists whatever language, alphabet or script we use. Flight by Morteza Ahmadvand features images of a solitary bird attempting to escape from a confined space. Images of the bird's flapping wings accumulate to record a ghostly memory of its flight, which may intimate the reality of living under constant restraint. Ahmadvand, however, is addressing the ways in which this image is produced, delivering a critique of representation and its conventions. Hossein Valamanesh often creates works that are a fusion between his Iranian heritage and the cultural and natural environment of his host country, Australia, where he has lived for many years. In Lotus Vault No. 2, Valamanesh uses leaves from markets in his hometown in Adelaide to create a structured formation that recalls the geometrically patterned brick vaults of the Friday Mosque in Isfahan, Iran. A series of Persian folk tales are symbolized in these dynamic installations by Samiee. The fabulous theology of Kohri Noor and the fabulous theology of Dari Noor seek to unmake established narratives. Kohri Noor and Dari Noor, which translate to the Mountain of Light and the Sea of Light, are the names of the two largest cut diamonds in the world, each with a dramatic history steeped in conflict and intrigue. While both can be seen as symbols of wealth, power, and the masculine desire to dominate the world, here Samiee links this power to the ingenuity and intelligence shown by Shahrazad and her sister Dinazad in the tales told in 1001 Nights.